If you are suffering from a disease that is not just a cold sore or cough, a serious disease, then the fear comes naturally. And that fear does not disappear just like that by praying, by doing rituals. No. Medicine can only help. For how long the medicine will help? Another 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, it's limited because it is curing this body that is what you know as getting diseased, or there is a condition which can shut this body down. Maybe cancer, maybe heart attack, maybe any other serious illness. And unless and until you see clearly that worrying about the health, thinking about the condition does not help at all. And only when you see that clearly and you use the same mind which is actually now busy thinking about disease, worrying about problems, that same mind when actually gets light, clarity, then the darkness goes, then the ignorance goes, and then you can meet anything without any problems, without any thinking that this should not be that way, should not be that way, with complete acceptance. Just that is the safest place, meeting this moment right here, right now, instantly, before the thought takes root, before the thought becomes a problem for you. You have to see it. When someone is facing illness, especially something serious, fear naturally appears. Fear of pain, fear of dying, fear of what will happen to children, fear of money, the home, the future, fear of what comes after this life. Nothing about this fear is wrong. It comes from caring, it comes from love, it comes from attachment to life as it is known. But let's look closely. Fear does not come from the body itself. The body is breathing, the heart is beating, life is still happening. Fear comes from thought. Thought says, what will happen to my children? How will the bills be paid? What will happen to me? What comes after death? These thoughts are about later. They are not about now. Right now, breathing is happening. Right now, body is here. Right now, awareness is present. The fear is not coming from this moment. It is coming from imagined moments. Notice something very important. The same aliveness that is here now is the only thing that has ever been here. It was here yesterday, it is here now, it will be here in the next moment. But the mind keeps leaving this moment and going into stories. Stories about tomorrow, stories about loss, stories about outcomes that have not happened. And while the body is still alive, that life is being used to worry about a future that may never arrive in the way it is imagined. This is exhausting, this is painful, this is where the suffering multiplies. Now, look even more closely. When the final moment comes, whenever that is, it will also be now. Not tomorrow, not in imagination, not in thought, just now. There will not be a moment where you suddenly jump into the future. Life itself only happens now. But the mind rarely stays here. While life is happening in this moment, the mind seems to go somewhere else, into memory, into imagination, into stories of past and future. But there is no somewhere else. Those thoughts appear here now as thoughts. The past is not visited, the future is not entered, only images and words arise in this moment and are mistaken for elsewhere. Even the last breath is taken in now. So, where is the safest place? Not in planning, not in worrying, not in rehearsing. The safest place is here, now, the instant, before thought begins its movement. Here does not mean ignoring reality. Now does not mean pretending everything is fine. This instant is the living presence in which thinking appears, not an absence of life, but its source. Instant points to noticing. I am aware right now. I am that awareness. Not the name, not the concepts, not the ideas, not a body. Thoughts are happening. Fear is appearing as a thought, but I am still here. You may call this meditation, but it is not something you do. It is something you stop doing. You stop following every thought. You stop traveling into imagined future. You stop trying to solve life while life is still happening. Here, the habit of relating to a name, a group, a date, a country, or any notion quietly falls away. You simply notice. A thought about the children appears, a thought about money appears, a thought about health appears, a thought about death appears. They come and they go. And something remains aware of them. That awareness is not worried, that awareness is not afraid, that awareness is simply present. The mind believes it must worry to protect, but worrying does not protect life, it only drains the moment that is still alive. Even the people you love, children, family, partners, their lives are also part of the same movement. Forms come, forms change, forms eventually go, like a form of a tree. A tree may be damaged by wind or by insects inside or simply by time. It still grows while it is here. It still stands while it can. It does not spend its life worrying about the day it will fall. Life moves through it fully, and when the form of a tree cannot longer be maintained, that same life continues as wind, soil, insects, and growth. Nothing stops, nothing is lost, only form changes. That is not cruelty, that is nature. Seeing this is not cold, it is relieving. Even these differences are part of the conditioned mind, but it shows that this moment does not need to carry the weight of the entire future. Right now, you are alive. Right now, awareness is present. Right now, you are safe. Safe does not mean guaranteed outcomes. Safe means nothing is being demanded of this moment except to be what it is. And when the mind rests here, even briefly, the body softens, the breath deepens, the fear loosens its grip. Not because problems are solved, but because suffering is no longer being multiplied. This is not about faith. This is not about hope. This is not about belief. It is about seeing clearly. The only place life is ever lived is here, now, instant. And this instant has never abandoned you. Not once. Stay with this instant. Notice how the mind immediately begins to elaborate what will happen. What if, what about tomorrow? That movement is the noise. That instant does not move with it. The instant is quiet. This instant remains safe. This instant itself never joins the story. Do not leave this instant for thought. Not by force, just by seeing that leaving is optional. This instant does not move, only thought does. Before any understanding appears, this instant is already here. This instant is free from all suffering, and it is the only place fear cannot survive. Before thought even imagines death, there is already rest, complete and effortless. Like in deep sleep with no dreams, nothing to fear, nothing to lose. Death, as the mind knows it, does not remain. And what remains is formless. It can use forms, it can move through forms, but it does not depend on them. So, you can choose to stay within this instant because you already are within this instant, here and now. And once you start seeing your thoughts coming and going, the foundation becomes clear from where you can see where you always have been. That does not move. Only the mind moves, the thoughts comes, thought goes. And when you see that process, what is called meditation does not need to be done. It happens automatically. That is the safest place. Only safest place is right here, right now, instantly. And from here you can see everything, not see things that you have been seeing all your life, how you analyze old age, death, diseases. Let the medical staff worry about that. Let the hospitals give you the medicines. Let others worry about that because you already have that available. Medicine goes in the stomach. What can you do? It does what it does. So you can be free from that thought process and seeing how that happens and knowing yourself as what cannot be defined. And that what cannot be defined is not limited to a body, a name, a religion, a story. That is already safe. That is your true nature. Once you see yourself seeing it, then the fear ends. Nothing can touch that. Because that is not a form that can be cut. That is not a tree, the physical tree that can be destroyed by insects within. Nothing can touch it. And that is what's moving this body and every form, what you see. It is the mind perception, the thinking. The knowledge that you have gathered is useful, but it is of matter, which is getting old, damaged, and that is the process, natural process. If that does not happen, how would the recycling happen? This is natural nature recycling itself. Nothing to worry about. Just rest here. Rest where no words needed.